At least it's not national radio or anything.
Cody, what did you think of the conversation with Katina Powell, the former madam who's got a new book out now that is engulfed Louisville in flames?
I thought it was quite interesting. I appreciated that she was honest enough to say that making money off her story was a big motivation. I think for a lot of listeners, I'm imagining that she lost points with the daughter thing, by having her daughter with apparently with no regret having her daughters follow in that lifestyle. She lost a little bit with me on that one.
Well, can it be both here, that this is a truth teller with credibility issues? It can be both, can it not?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
I'm believing everything she's saying.
Yeah. I think she neutered a lot of that disbelief. If you weren't buying it, with what Greg just said, the fact that she said, "Yeah, I'm looking to make some money, so I don't have to be an escort."
Well, that we'll indict her either way on that one, won't we, Cody? We'll indict her with, like, if she doesn't say she's in it for the money, we'll accuse her of being in it for the money.
Right.
And if she does say that she's in it for the money, we'll say, well, she's got incentives to not tell the truth, because the more outrageous the story, the more grandiose the story, the more scandalous the story, the more likely we are to say she's just doing this. She's inventing these details from her imagination because she wants to sell a book.
Yeah, but for me, part of the scandal here, part of what makes this so salacious, is the idea that it's a mother and her two daughters, that it's a family enterprise.
I don't know how you get around the underage. I mean, she denies the underage daughter thing.
Well, how old are the daughters?
There is nothing better than the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz, on behalf of Stamps.com, name some people in the history of sports whose names connote stamps, something related to stamps. You love this game.
Oh, I do love this game. It's one of my favorite games. You know that. Robert Pack, Jackie Shipp, Doug Waite, Billy Packer, Pac-Man Jones, Craig Carton, Special Delivery Jones, Ray Seals, The Total Package, Lex Luger, Bill Parcells, The Mailman Carl Malone, and the Thrilla in Manila envelope. I love this game, man.
Bill Parcells was good. That was a good one.
Thank you. With Stamps.com, buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package right from your desk using your own computer and printer. It's that easy. Even get special postage discounts you can't find at the post office. Right now, sign up for Stamps.com and use our promo code Dan for this special offer. 4-week trial, plus a $110 bonus offer, including postage and a digital scale. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com. Before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Dan. That's Stamps.com. Enter Dan.
Hey, it's Mike and Mike. Thanks for listening on Richmond's ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5.
We're giving you the chance to be in with us at the National Championship game.
That's right. Listen live every weekday for your chance to win the Mike and Mike at the College Football Playoff Sweepstakes presented by AutoZone.
We're picking a winner every week. Who's in?
Visit ESPNRadio.com/MikeCFP for complete contest rules.
The start of football season means that cooler weather is just around the corner. Now's the time to lock in your propane at a limited time price that will save you money through March of 2017. New heating customers who sign up with AmeriGas will receive a low locked-in price that will also last through March 2017, along with a $100 bonus coupon to use toward your first delivery. Call Haley at 316-8128 to cash in on this special offer. That's Haley at 316-8128. Online at AmeriGas.com.
Don't stop until you shop Royal Chevrolet. We are closer than you think. Our gigantic 60-car showroom is only minutes away from anywhere in Richmond. Or shop us on the web at royalva.com, where you'll find over 400 new and pre-owned cars and trucks to choose from. Royal has a no-pressure and knowledgeable sales team that will always beat any other dealership's deal. So don't stop until you shop Royal Chevrolet. You'll be glad you did. Royal Chevrolet.
Saucing and glazing barbecue his way for over 30 years, specializing in succulent, spare, tender baby back, and jumbo beef ribs with recipes handed down for generations. And don't forget about the award-winning pulled pork sandwiches, cooked daily over Buzz's signature hickory smoked wood. Stop by the original location at 1119 North Boulevard in the Fan, or the new Buzz and Ned's Real Barbecue at 8205 West Broad Street in the West End.
I'm terrible with money. Apparently, a PhD in physics won't help me predict the trajectory of my own retirement. So I work with TIAA-CREF. You get quality, personalized advice no matter what your balance is. For me, they make investing as easy as Newtonian physics.
Advice for everyone. One more way TIAA-CREF is created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA-CREF, Individual Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an act of portrayal. Advice is subject to institutional plan rules. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
As an entrepreneur, you're always on the go. So turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Get a new business number or keep your current one. Sound professional with a main greeting and multiple extensions that forward callers to your mobile phone. You can even get voicemails transcribed. Join over 150,000 small businesses who stay connected with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com. The entrepreneur's phone system.
WXGI Richmond, WCEC Goochland. We are ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5. Streaming live at ESPN950AM.com. ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5. Now, to the Richmond Sports Center. Here's Nick Bailey.
A-10 basketball preseason poll has been released. VCU predicted to finish 5th, while Richmond in 6th. Dayton's first on that list. On the preseason third team, Melvin Johnson and Mo Alley Cox from VCU, while Chandre Jones and Terry Allen from Richmond. Mo Alley Cox also featured on the preseason all-defensive team. Redskins can be considered the walking wounded. Deshaun Jackson, one of them. He's still uncertain for his status for Sunday's home game against the Buccaneers. Also, Trenton Robinson, Chris Thompson, Rashad Breeland all day-to-day. Former VCU standout Brianza Weber has officially signed with the Miami Heat. He's expected to play in the D-League once he's fully healthy. Weber ranks 3rd all-time in steals in NCAA. You've been updated on the Richmond Sports Center.
ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5. WXGI Richmond, WCEC Goochland.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Bob Picozzi. 5 former University of Louisville basketball players and recruits have told ESPN's Outside the Lines that they attended parties at a campus dorm from 2010 to 2014. And those parties included strippers paid for by then graduate assistant coach Andre McGee. One of those former players said he had sex with the dancer after McGee paid her. Could this have happened without head coach Rick Pitino knowing about it? ESPN college basketball analyst Jay Billis a guest today on Mike and Mike.
I think it is possible, and I happen to believe that Rick Pitino didn't know anything about this. When you have a strict liability to a head coach, it's more likely that the head coach is going to be kept in the dark about certain things. So it's a really difficult proposition. Strict liability for a coach, I'm not saying it leads to it, but it certainly isn't going to stop it.
The Louisville Athletic Department spokesman says neither Pitino nor Athletic Director Tom Jurich would have any comment on the report. Since the All-Star break, R.A. Dickey was 6-0 at home with a 1.94 ERA. He'll be on the mound this afternoon in Toronto, Game 4 American League Championship Series, 3 Eastern Time on ESPN Radio. Then tonight, the Mets and Cubs meet in Chicago, Game 3 in the NLCS, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Sports Center is brought to you by Blue Emu, the leading household name in muscle and joints. Experience the benefits of emu oil and try their new Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Beat the pain. It works fast and you won't stink.
Welcome to the following presentation from IMG, America's home for college sports. And thanks for listening to University of Richmond Athletics. We are One Richmond, united in red. It's lunchtime, and it's time to talk Richmond football with head coach Danny Rocco and his special guest. This is the Spider Sports Line, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. Today's show is brought to you by the Discover Card, UPS, Lux Chevrolet, Outback Steakhouse, and by the University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. Be a part of the show. Call 804-622-0950 or 877-994-4950. Or send an email to spidersportsline@richmond.edu. Now let's go live to Outback Steakhouse. Here's the voice of the Spiders, Bob Black, with Coach Rocco. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
First and goal, Richmond at the 6-yard line. Shotgun snap, handoff to Green, turns the right corner, puts his head down and bowls his way into the end zone. Jacoby Green showing great strength, gets across that goal line, and the Spiders on their opening possession are on the board.
Yeah, Jacoby Green known for his speed, but that was a big boy run right there. Put his head down, ran through a couple would-be tacklers.
Caparell throws, and the pass is deflected and intercepted. Trevor Jones with the Spider interception. It went right off of the hand of the receiver and into the hand of the redshirt senior Trevor Jones with his first INT.
Trevor Jones is having a season. He is having a season. Johnny on the spot once again. Always excited, always intense, and just continues to make plays every game.
I think always excited might be the catchphrase of this week for Spider football. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spider Sports Line, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, along with head coach Danny Rocco. I'm Bob Black. We have an action-packed hour for you, so we're going to get right into it. We have great guests today, including our new radio analyst, Chris Anderson, who is front and center with us at the head table. You'll hear his dulcet tones in just a moment as you heard them on those highlights. I'm sure he'll have more descriptive phrases like big boy run and Johnny on the spot for us this afternoon. Omar Howard, who had 18 tackles in the Rhode Island game, will be our special player guest a little bit later. And also joining us on the phone today will be ESPN's Todd McShay, proud University of Richmond graduate, class of 1999, who is a frequent contributor to the ESPN College Game Day show on Saturday mornings. Of course, you know by now, ESPN College Game Day is making a stop in Harrisonburg Saturday ahead of the Richmond JMU game. So, Coach, let's get right into it. What have the last 4 or 5 days been like for you, your staff, and the team? Take us back to just prior to the Rhode Island game. A little bit of a travel hiccup getting up there. Everybody handles it well. The game, and then the news of College Game Day and how you're beginning preparations this week for a big game against JMU.
Yeah, as we were getting ready to leave for Rhode Island on Friday, we had gotten the information that our flight had been canceled. They had a problem with the aircraft, so fortunately we had yet to leave the Robins Center. I mean, if this would have happened while we were down at the airport, it could have been more problematic. We would have had to spend 4 or 5 hours, at the airport. So Carl Kotz, our director of ops, was able to kind of get the information. He got it to me in time. Now, we were all on the buses. We were on the buses, loaded, ready to go, and I had to get everybody into the team room, and I think everybody knew what that meant, that the flight was canceled. But we were able to put together a pretty good schedule that included our walkthrough and our meetings, and some of the things that we were going to do up in Rhode Island we were able to do here on our own campus. And then, we got up there, I don't know, Bob, what time we get in Friday night? 7:30, 7:38. Had a late dinner, shorter meetings. And then I think the biggest thing for me was that we answered the bell on Saturday. We certainly took care of business, and I was really pleased with the way the players responded to the adversity, to playing on the road, and then recognizing the significance of the moment, because that was a must-win football game for us.
All right, what about the start of the moment this week? Obviously, you're a football coach, coaching your football team in, as you said to Matt on the field in the post-game show, anytime it's a state and conference rival, it's a big game, whether it's JMU or William and Mary, it's a big game, and then you add the added exposure of the national audience.
Yeah, I think someone told me late last week that if both teams won, that there would be a real possibility that this game might get picked up by ESPN as their ESPN Game Day event. So it wasn't that far out of my realm of thinking that this was going to happen. And, in today's society, things happen so fast with tweets and whatever. There's some things that were kind of confirming it. And I think it's absolutely positively great. I think it's great for, first and foremost, FCS football. I think it allows us to continue to put our brand out there, and it's an exciting brand of football. I think it's great for our conference. I mean, I am a firm believer in this league, in the depth and talent within this league. And obviously for both universities, Coach Withers and James Madison University and their football program, and he's doing a great job with that program and with that team, and they're sitting there and top 5 in the country, undefeated, and then here we are. finding ourselves in a position to make this a very, very viable football game. So the exposure for both of our universities for FCS football and for the CAA, I think, are exceptional.
All right, let's welcome Chris Anderson to Outback. As you know, he's our first-year radio analyst on our Spider IMG Sports Network, former Spider player, former Spider captain, former Spider all-conference standout. Chris, welcome to Outback for the first time. I know a lot of our fans were happy to see you here today, so welcome.
Very glad to be here. Very glad to be here. So,
what has the perspective, the view from the booth been like? You've been a player, you've been a high school coach. Now you're getting a different look at it from the broadcast booth.
Football is still football, and it's good to be close to the game again. I'd obviously played and coached and then got into corporate America, and you just kind of miss the game, and you miss the camaraderie and be around it. So just being around that is it's good to be back in the atmosphere, being back around the Spider family, Spider Nation. So that's been good. And then just it's hard not to be kind of a coach up there sometimes. So I'm working on that, and I just pretty much follow your lead and stay out of Coach Rocco's way.
I bet you've never heard that from a media member before, that it's hard not to be a coach up there watching the game.
I probably hear it quite often.
Yeah,
so
say that.
Chris, what do you think of the start so far? The 5-1 start, the national ranking, the build to Saturday's game.
The big thing that comes to me is just improvement. Every week we've got on the field, we've been better. Seeing the maturation of Kyle Laletta and the offensive line, just everything start to come together. Very excited about that defense. And in the beginning, we were like, wow, we need more pressure, we need more turnovers, and boom, just like that, we start to see that intensity and just see an improvement in that area. So for me, the big thing that I get from it is just improvement, man. We're continuing to get better, and we're continuing just to make sure we're in the conversation as you start to talk about playoffs and things like that. You just want to stay in that conversation as long as possible, keep getting better.
I got a couple of minutes here with Coach Rocco to talk some X's and O's. Ivan is holding, even with a celebrity like ESPN's Todd McShay coming up. Ivan still goes first. Makes sense. He still goes first. We'll get to him in a couple moments, a break, and then Todd McShay coming up. So feel free to jump in here wherever you'd like, Chris.
All right.
Hey, Danny, one thing we never really talked about in the aftermath of the Rhode Island game was their change at quarterback and how late it came. I mean, we didn't know about it till we got to the stadium Saturday. Maybe you guys as coaches knew it was coming, but we didn't know until an hour and a half or 2 hours before the game that they were making a significant change at the quarterback position. Did that affect you guys at all?
Well, we didn't know either. We found out, I think it was just during or just prior to our pregame warm-up. And during pregame warm-up, you're always kind of surveilling the other team's roster, and you got some guys on your staff that are assigned to look at the depth chart, look for guys on the sideline, guys in crutches, guys with jersey numbers on that you're not used to seeing. And yeah, I was a little surprised by it because I had no forethought about it, and I immediately went to Bob Trott, and we just kind of put our heads together and then thought of a couple of scenarios. We kind of thought we knew who they would play, and that was a guy that played against us a year ago, and he's got a lot of experience, and but we had some other thoughts too that came actually to pass. The second quarterback they put in the game to run the ball a little bit more, and we kind of knew they would do that. So we had some things built into our check system when the other quarterback came into the game that were not part of our weekly preparation. So, the running back had a nice day. He ran the ball well. We knew that they would have to feature him. They'd have to have a great day for them to be able to kind of, stay in the game. And fortunately, they were not able to get that done.
Nothing yet off of that? It didn't seem like you guys really had a curveball thrown at you in that situation, that you were able to kind of move on the fly, make that change, and then to your point earlier, just the quick start really kind of eliminated some of that at that point.
Well, I think kind of, we wanted to make a statement early, and I think even from the very beginning on the kickoff return, we had a quasi, special play in there. We ran a fake reverse to Brian Brown. Now, Brian hadn't been out there all year on the kickoff return, and so we at least wanted to offer a reality that we were looking to jumpstart the day. Mm-hmm. And then we had some real definitive conversation Friday night as a staff, and it's really Charlie Fisher leading this part of the conversation, but we wanted to get Reggie Diggs involved early. And there are times where the defense can kind of take your ex-receiver out of the game. They can play, 2-over-1, and then you just automatically go back to the other side. Sometimes it's easier to get the ball to Brian than it is to get the ball to Reggie.
Right.
All right, so we wanted to be kind of relentless with our thinking and our desire to get him the ball. And I said Friday night, and I said, last thing I said coming out of the locker room, we need our playmakers to make plays. And Reggie made 1 or 2 on that first drive, and then Brian made a play on the reverse there that really gave us some big chunks of yardage and some momentum.
Okay, Chris, what happens? I'm going to ask Omar the same question, but in the second half, it just seems like the defense comes out, and I think they had back-to-back-to-back 3 and outs. So I always would like to know, what kind of adjustments are made at halftime, or is it just settling in, focusing?
Yeah, I think that it's usually a little more settling in and recognizing the schemes and the fits that you have to have. And, you mentioned Omar. Omar had a phenomenal game out there. He made more tackles in that game than I made my junior year of college, so that's a pretty good effort right there. But, a lot of those plays, he just knew where to fit.
Right.
And as the schemes were unfolding, he was slipping into the creases and getting almost unblocked on occasion to the football. So, in my opinion, that was the biggest thing that happened there. We made a couple of subtle adjustments. We got a little better understanding with what they were going to do with each of the quarterbacks if they were in the game. But then holistically, we just fit the run games a little bit better and really allowed us to shut them down.
All right, big win for the Spiders. Let's start to look ahead to next week and move on as our show continues about 10 minutes in. Let's go to Ivan at 622-0950. That's the number to dial us up. And then after Ivan, ESPN's Todd McShay on the phone will join us for some college football talk. Ivan, you're up with Coach Rocco.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Coach. How you both doing today?
Good, Ivan. How are you?
Great. First, I want to say congratulations on a great team victory you had last Saturday. I mean, not only did you take the Rhode Island out of their game plan, but you also did a great job, and I think Omar Harlow did a great job on the defense and just playing a great game last Saturday.
And he really did. And I honestly believe that Rhode Island beating Delaware the week before was exactly what we needed. And, for me, the mental aspect, the psychological aspect of preparing your team and of the game is something that I believe I've got a good handle on, and I've been doing this for a long time. But I always recognize when things could be in our favor and when things might not be in our favor. And as soon as that score came across, I said, this could be in our favor right here because, I didn't need the score to get my attention because they had my attention because the last time I was up there, we got beat, okay, and I had a long flight home. Now, some people drove, and they reminded me about how long the drive was, okay? But we're past that now. All right, so the reality is, I felt that pain, and a lot of my kids did too. But all of a sudden, the score comes with 20-0. They beat Delaware. Didn't Delaware beat William & Mary the week before? And wow, what happened? Well, Delaware really wasn't ready to play, and it kind of came out and played out the way our game did 2 years ago. And that message, I think, resonated and got our attention. So we remained in the moment, which I thought was really good, and it's a sign. Chris said it a minute ago, but this football team's maturing and developing, and I talk all the time about continual and constant improvement. Now, I talk about this in all aspects of your life, but obviously one of the areas that it does present itself in is as an athlete and as a team.
Now, what can you tell us about Madison this week? I know game day has been announced. It's going to be up there at Harrisonburg. I wish they would come to Richmond and do the Richmond William & Mary game, but, that's always hopeful. But I want to know.
We'll suggest that.
There you go.
Shoot him an email, Ivan, and ESPN.
What can you tell us about Madison? I mean, who are some of the key players that we should be on the lookout for? And how do you come up? Did you come out of the game with many bumps and bruises?
Yeah, we had a couple of guys that were kind of nicked up, and I think the status of some may not be really definitively determined until Thursday or Friday. As far as James Madison, they're really having an outstanding season and very, very much on a roll offensively. What they're doing is somewhat rare and unique in terms of the overall production and the volume of yards and points that they're putting up on the board. So very impressive. It starts with the quarterback, Vadley, and his ability to understand and master the offense. And again, this is one of those things when it's all said and done, they want to run the ball. So they give you a lot of formations, they spread you out, they force you to have to move and adjust and do all these, then they just want to run the ball right down your throat. And it's a reality that sometimes is misunderstood because they're not as conventional as we are when you run the football. So you look at our offense and say, oh yeah, Danny wants to run the ball downhill and he wants a two-back set and this and that. Well, their mentality isn't a whole lot different. They want to try to win at the line of scrimmage. They want to try to be physical, create space, get the ball north and south and run the ball with those backs or with their quarterback. Now, they spread you out to make you have to tackle in the open field. All right, so we got to be able to tackle in the open field. Now, if you can shut that run game down a little bit, at least bottle it up, then they have to and they can, but have to execute that passing game to a higher level of efficiency. But if they get the run game going, and that's what happened last week down at Elon. The run game was just up and going, and they didn't really have to do a whole lot else as they were ripping off big chunks of yards on the ground.
All right, Ivan, hey, we're going to move on. Thanks for the call.
Thanks a lot,
We'll talk
Ivan.
to you next week. Good early scouting report on JMU. Timeout from the Spider Sports Line. Much more ahead. ESPN's Todd McShay and UR's Omar Howard will join Chris Anderson and Danny Rocco and me when we return in a moment on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Change things up this fall and take a detour to your local Dyke Tire Pros for a new set of Continental tires. From October 2nd through November 2nd, get a $70 prepaid card by mail when you purchase a set of 4 Continental brand passenger or light truck tires. Change your path, change your mind, change your tires at your local Dyke Tire Pros in Richmond. Online at dyketire.com. A proud supporter of the Richmond Spiders. Offer expires November 2nd, 2015. See redemption form for qualifying tires. Void where prohibited.
We know what it's like, that persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
Luck Chevrolet is celebrating their 100-year anniversary, and they're going to use their century of experience to help you find your next Silverado, Suburban, Impala, Malibu, or Equinox. Luck Chevrolet uses their vast knowledge of GM vehicles to help you maintain and service your vehicle to keep it on the road longer and help maintain its value. So for Chevrolet sales, service, or parts, go where experience reigns supreme. Luck Chevrolet in Ashland and online at luckchevrolet.com. Proud to be family owned since 1916.
This is the Spider Sports Line with head football coach Danny Rocco, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
All right, back at Outback Steakhouse, Bob Black along with head coach Danny Rocco. Chris Anderson is with us. Omar Howard, Spider linebacker, will join us in just a little bit. But this is a big week. Obviously, we've talked about ESPN College Game Day coming to Harrisonburg, previewing the Richmond JMU game. I think it's only the 8th time that they have gone to a non-FBS city for this program. So it really says an awful lot about Richmond and JMU, and as Coach Rocco mentioned, about CAA football and FCS football. So we thought we'd take an opportunity to speak today with one of the frequent contributors to ESPN College Game Day, proud Spider graduate, class of 99, was on the Spider football team, Todd McShay, who was a teammate of Chris Anderson at Richmond when both of them were here. And Chris actually found a little clip from, what, Chris, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Of Todd McShay actually giving a shout-out to the Richmond Spiders and a couple of his former teammates. So this is off of television, but as a way of introduction of Todd McShay today, take a listen to what Todd had to say about his days playing at Richmond and the Richmond football team.
Todd, you were a walk-on quarterback at Richmond, so you can relate to the work these kids put in. I was a priority walk-on. It was, it took about 2 weeks to realize what priority meant. And first of all, as a quarterback, you get number 35. Congratulations. And you're so lucky to be a priority guy that your 2 defensive ends are going to play in the NFL, Sean Barber and Mark Megna, and I was the scout team quarterback, and got my brains beat in. So it all worked out.
Yeah, I'd say it all worked out for Todd McShay, didn't it, Chris Anderson?
It did. Glad to have Todd McShay. Todd McShay I was also on that scout team. So Todd is a scout team brethren. He was the QB. I came in later in the season. They moved me over, and I was one of the running backs. So we took our lumps together with Mr.
Yeah,
and Mr.
that was a tough group.
Todd, thanks for joining us for a few moments. What do you reminisce, as Chris just did, about those days as a scout team member?
Well, we were the first class with Jim Reed, who was the new head coach at the time, and anyone that remembers Jim Reed, he was from Massachusetts, a tough, hardened guy who was just determined to break us all down, and he did a pretty good job of it, and so practices were hard, and I'm sure, like a lot of places, in the first year of a head coach, you come in and try to set a tone, and we were that class that kind of took the beating of it. And Mark Megna went on to play in the NFL for a handful of years and was a standout player in the CFL for a long time. And he was an absolute maniac. Remains one of my good friends. I'm actually going to see him this week down in Miami. And then Sean Barber was one of the all-time greats to play at Richmond. And those are the 2 defensive ends. And Barber obviously played in the league for a long time and was very successful. I do remember taking a snap, and thankfully Jimmy Miles was the real quarterback, the scholarship quarterback that year, so he took a lot more scout team snaps than I did, but I remember just taking the snap, and I was lucky on a design 7-step drop to get 3 steps back before they met in the middle with me, so those are some long days, man, but they were, you grow up fast, and you learn a lot of lessons from it, and then we all look back and we tell some funny stories now.
Hey, Todd, I know, unfortunately, your schedule isn't going to fit so that you'll be in Harrisonburg Saturday. What will Saturday be like? You've been a part of the college game day experience, obviously. This is unique because it's an FCS game, and it's Harrisonburg, and it's JMU and Richmond. What is, for our Spider fans who are going to go up and try and experience it, what are they going to experience?
First of all, I'm really, really bummed that I'm not going to be there. I actually, all joking aside, I actually called our production crew and say, hey, is there a chance that I can go there and then maybe fly after to our game? But it turns out that we had the Clemson-Miami game, which is a noon kickoff, and game day ends right at noon. So there's no way to do it. But I will certainly miss being there, and it's because of this job, unfortunately, I haven't been able to get back to a game since I left there. But in terms of the experience, one thing I do know, I traveled several years with Game Day Radio and did a lot of game stuff with Herb Street and Fowler at the time and Coach Corso and that whole group. They love different stories, and they love North Dakota State is one of their favorite stops. They've gone a couple times now and there because they just you go to Alabama and you go to LSU and Tennessee and Georgia and USC and Michigan and all these massive programs, and they're all phenomenal in their own right. And there's buzz and excitement, and there's a storyline each time that they decide to go, and the reason that they're going. If they're going to Alabama, it's one of the biggest games of the year, and Alabama's probably one of the top 5 ranked teams in the country. But they love mixing in 2-3 of these games, whether it's a service academy or a smaller school or whatever the reason, because they love getting back to what this game is about, and guys that maybe aren't going to go, the vast majority on to play in the NFL and make careers of it, but guys that just love the game, and schools that are passionate about their football and don't get any national recognition. And I know from talking to David Pollock yesterday, he was saying the best stop that he's ever been on in the college game day tour was North Dakota State a year ago, just because of the energy and passion. I'm sure that the Richmond fans will be there, and we'll try to hush some of the Dukes a little bit, and JMU will show up and be loud and proud, and I think that it'll be an unbelievable stop, a memorable stop, and I'm sure it's one of the places that when they look back on the season will really stand out in their minds.
Hey, Todd, surprising to most, this is Chris, surprising to most, the Spiders, we are we're out there as far as the NFL world. And I just want to know, do you keep up with the likes of DeJuan Jones and Manir Moore, Joe Douglas, and just tell people, give them a feel that when the Spiders, when guys leave here, whether they're playing in the NFL or being connected to the NFL or sporting world, just give them a feel of the guys who are out there and how you connect with them.
We get kind of needled all the time by guys in the league because we're this small school that obviously is very proud of what we've done, but there's not a big time program, and yet you've got Joe Douglas, who's the director of college scouting now for the Chicago Bears, just took that job, and Joe Douglas, who's basically coordinator of half the country for the New Orleans Saints in college scouting, and Manir Moore, as you mentioned, working for the NFLPA, and several other guys have been in the league. Mark Megney, even as I mentioned before, trains a lot of the guys that are getting ready, leaving school down in Miami and going to the NFL draft. So we always get needled about the fact that we're all over the place for this tiny little school. I'll give you a good story. Chip Kelly last year, he was deciding on his personnel staff, and I gave him shot him a text and said, "Hey, listen, I know you know him, and I just want to put it out there that Joe Douglas, who's being courted by some other NFL teams to be the college director, is someone I think you should keep an eye on." And I gave all the reasons why and went down and failed to mention that I played with him in Richmond and that he's one of my best friends. And he texted me back. He said, first of all, I know Joe well. Second of all, I'm well aware of how good he is. And third of all, he goes, all you bleeping Spiders are the same way. You guys all stick up together. You guys are like this insane little family in the NFL. He's like, stop texting me about guys that I know you're best friends with.
Well, we remember him as the offensive coordinator in New Hampshire, actually. So
exactly.
Before he became Chip Kelly, right?
Back from the roots.
Right, exactly. Coach Rocco is with us as well, Todd. And just before we came back from the commercial, Danny, you were saying, Todd McShay, what a great job he does for ESPN. So you guys as college coaches are very aware of the diligence that these draft analyst guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the time and energy and the expertise that they bring, I think, is very real. And I think in a lot of ways, it's the first stop for a lot of people when they're trying to track the real storyline on some of these prospects. And like Todd said, we've had some success here. We've had some success of late with Cooper Taylor coming out and Kerry Wynn coming out and playing as well as he's playing right now, and Kendall Gaskins a couple years ago. So it all works for the good of the cause, and a lot of people have an opportunity to kind of weigh in.
Hey, Todd, I think Danny makes an interesting point. Give us a little bit of the background of how you do what you do. I think, first or second round draft pick, that's pretty obvious, but he mentioned a couple of the names of former Spiders. Let's stay on the Spider theme, that you got to dig down a little bit to unearth their talent and their information and their projection of being in the NFL, meaning Cooper Taylor and Kerry Wynn, a couple of guys who were on Monday Night Football last night when the Giants played the Eagles.
Yeah, those are 3 Spiders now on NFL rosters, and it seems like every year there's a handful of them. So it's very similar. It's a very different look at how you're studying tape, but very similar to the way Coach spent a lot of his days in terms of sitting down in a dark room with a cowboy remote and watching game tape after game tape, as we continue to call it game tape, but the games, the coach's copy broken down into the tight and wide version of it, and just evaluating players. So obviously, when coaches are watching tape, they're studying for tendencies and trends and everything, game planning and all the things that you look for a given Saturday. And when the college football season's over, I basically spend the entire January, February, March, and April watching tape and evaluating around 400 players each year as we prepare for the NFL draft. Guys that are, obviously top 10 picks and everyone knows about them, and that turns into more private investigation for NFL scouts than anything. But the fun ones are the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks and the undrafted free agents that you study and you think that they have a chance to make it, and then 3-4 years down the road they wind up becoming Victor Cruzes of the NFL. So it's it's a different way of studying tape, but it's just a passion for the game, and the same as a lot of the coaches have, and keep you up at night wondering where you messed up and how you can do it better. But if you love it, you love being in the room doing it.
Well, we got a guy sitting here who's a great linebacker who in a year maybe you'll be able to analyze his tape, our junior captain Omar Howard, who had 18 tackles last week. So file that name in the back of your mind, would you?
No, it's already there. I know him and impressed with how he's playing and hope Saturday. Now, we got Lee Fittings, the producer of College Game Day. And so he's the one who makes the final decision that they're going to go there. And he's a JMU graduate. So I've already bet an undisclosed bet with Lee Fitting on who's going to win the game on Saturday. And we're going, needling back and forth. So I'm pulling hard for the Spiders as I always would, but especially at JMU with Game Day, I hope we make it a miserable day, from noon on for the Dukes.
No objectivity for you this week, right? It's all subjective.
No, absolutely not. I can care less.
And I can tell you, Todd, your Spider gear is on the way. It was shipped this morning, so we hope to see some of that red Spider gear on ESPN at some point, right?
I'll be wearing out the Twitter feed on it Friday and Saturday.
All right, we look forward to it. Todd, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining us for a segment of our Spider Sports Line. Sorry you won't be in Harrisonburg on Saturday, but I know you'll be rooting the Spiders on. All right, Todd, good to talk to you, man.
I'll miss you guys. Take care, Chris. Always good talking to you, man. Coach, good luck on Saturday. Bob, great talking to you again, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, Todd McShay from ESPN, thank you so much for being our special guest on the phone. We'll take a timeout a little bit more than halfway through the show. The aforementioned Omar Howard will join us, talk some Spider football and his 18 tackles against Rhode Island and the defensive challenge that lies ahead Saturday. Coming up, second half hour of the show. Next, from Outback Steakhouse on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
At the University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies, we offer flexible and affordable degrees to help you start, advance, or change your career. Our degrees combine the latest theory with real-world applications to empower you with the critical knowledge and skills to take the next step in your professional life. Explore our newest graduate degrees in nonprofit studies and public history. Plus, check out our new bachelor's degree and certificate in information security. With evening classes and tuition starting at just $450 per semester hour, you can earn a University of Richmond degree on your terms. Visit spcs.richmond.edu for details. That's spcs.richmond.edu. The University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. We work for working professionals.
Can you handle a full rack? Buzz can. He's been smoking, chopping, saucing, and glazing barbecue his way for over 30 years, specializing in succulent, spare, tender baby back, and jumbo beef ribs with recipes handed down for generations. And don't forget about the award-winning pulled pork sandwiches, cooked daily over Buzz's signature hickory smoked wood. Stop by the original location at 1119 North Boulevard in the Fan, or the new Buzz & Ned's Real Barbecue at 8205 West Broad Street in the West End.
If you're craving lunch in Richmond football, you've come to the right place. Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
With a hand on the delay to Cooper, and comes slicing through is Omar Howard to drop him for a 2-yard loss back to the 40-yard line.
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I'm excited for the guy, but it's like you're watching a movie. I mean,
Superman would be the movie.
I'm telling you, man, he is all over the place.
For those of you in the restaurant, you know that Omar Howard's not wearing his Superman T-shirt today, but we were comparing him to Superman Saturday when he was flying all over the place, 18 tackles and a fumble recovery, and he does join us. We'll talk a little bit with him now. Even you, Danny Rocco, were surprised. I know Matt Smith on the postgame said, hey, Omar Howard had 18 tackles, and you went, what, 18 tackles? Quite a performance.
Yeah, it really is, and he was certainly all over the field, and like I think I mentioned to Matt after the game, when the balls run to the far sideline, usually it's difficult to see exactly who made the tackle. Now, if the ball gets out, you usually know whose fault it might have been. But when the tackle's made, and it's hard to tell. There's so many bodies, et cetera, et cetera. But as it turned out, a lot of those plays were obviously Omar's plays. And when we went back and tallied the film, I think Coach Rojas actually had Omar at 20 tackles. Am I correct, Omar?
I have no clue.
Okay. But, he was in there a bunch, and a lot of them were solo hits, and a lot of them were right on or behind line of scrimmage.
So, Omar, you had 18 tackles. Coach Rocco takes you out. I think he took you out to kind of keep you humble and ready for this week. Do you guys have a talk about that this week? Did you discuss that?
No, I think it was just to get more experience for the younger guys. We were at a point in the game where
good answer.
We could put some of the younger guys in and get them some experience.
And I think we said after the game, well, it just means this week you can get a career high in tackles and get 19 or 20. I think Matt asked you this on the post game, but do you feel like you're getting into a rhythm or a groove with tackles, much like a hitter goes on a hot streak in baseball or a shooter in basketball kind of gets on a hot streak? Does it work defensively with tackles, or is it just you were in the right place at the right time?
I think it was mostly just the right place at the right time. It was part of the scheme. I can tell you that probably 14 of those tackles don't happen if everybody else isn't doing the job. So, I mean, it's mostly more of just where I needed to be. But hopefully, next week I can get 22. So, I mean, that'd be awesome.
How good do you feel for a guy like Trevor Jones, who has worked so hard, so long? He was with us, I think, last week or the week before.
Yes.
And talked with him a little bit about it, and he gets that first interception.
That was great. That was a sweet interception, too. It was a huge momentum swing. Obviously, that was huge for the defense, and, he deserves it because he's been working hard for 5 years. I mean, he's been working hard since I've been here, So
Omar, coming into this week, just talk to me about the psychology of getting prepared. You don't want to, obviously you want to play up and you want everybody to be excited and play up, but you don't want to be tight. You want to do what you do. So how do you kind of address that being a leader?
We just embrace the process. I mean, we've been talking about the process since the beginning of the camp. It's a process getting to the event. You don't worry about the event until it happens, but all the week leading up to it, you just do it how you would any other week. I mean, this is the biggest game of the year just because it's the next one.
And as Coach mentioned, it's a state rivalry game. It's a conference rivalry game. And you guys are playing well is probably the most important aspect of all of that going into it. It kind of takes two to tango, as I think a lot of people have said. ESPN wouldn't be there if both teams weren't good. So the Spiders had to uphold their end of the bargain. Where do you think this defense is at, particularly, let's say, since the Hampton game? I mean, Maryland, a lot of points. Hampton, probably more points than you would have liked, even though it was a win. Since Hampton, it's been pretty locked down defense.
Yeah, I think we've matured. I think we've finally settled down to what we know we can be. We got a lot of talent, a lot of speed, and I think we're finally utilizing that, and it's showing on the scoreboard.
Danny, did something happen defensively after Hampton? Because you could almost draw a line after that game and say, look at this defense since then.
Well, I don't know if I would say anything happened. I think there's probably a little more of a confidence level, with some guys that were maybe stepping into some new roles, and then they've kind of taken a little more ownership of those roles. And then, we are utilizing our team speed. And I had said from the very beginning of the year that if we were going to be good on defense, which I really thought we were, and right now we are, it was going to be because of our overall team speed, and I felt that even our D-line runs well. The guys in the Clyde and Winston Craig, they can run. They're big bodies that can run. Our linebacking core runs extremely well, and our secondary is fast. Take a guy like Trevor Jones playing out there at that outside backer position. He's played corner before, so this is a guy that can cover a lot of ground, close a lot of ground, and that's what we got to do this week. I mean, we've got to swarm the ball. We got to minimize those running lanes so that those ball carriers cannot do all one-on-one tackles. We got to have guys pursuing to the ball with leverage, and our team speed, I think, will give us an opportunity to minimize those big gains.
In terms of areas of improvement, Coach, where I love the way the defense is steadily getting better. So where can we go from here? Like, what's next? Where other areas of improvement?
Well, I think that you're always trying to find specific things to allow yourself to get better. I think right now, the more we can put teams into third and longer yardage situations, the more things are going to be skewed in our favor. And I think I told the team, I'm positive I told the team Friday night before the Rhode Island game, I said, if they gain 2 yards on first down, they're going to be happy.
Yeah.
Like second and 8's a good deal for them.
Yeah.
So we got to knock them out on the line of scrimmage and hit them in the backfield. It's got to be 2nd and 10 for us to be in an advantage, because a lot of people are willing to get 3, 4, 3.5, And we didn't want that to happen. So I think our ability to force longer yardage situations allows us to use our team speed better as we go to some of our dime packages and some of our substitution defenses.
All right, let's take a quick timeout, come back with one more segment with Omar, then we'll let him grab lunch. And, of course, these guys got to get ready for practice this afternoon. But we will focus in on this week and kind of get a local guy's perspective on what is basically a local regional rivalry coming up this week. Do that in the next segment of the Spider Sports Line right here on the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
It's out there lurking, big, tall, and green. The grass monster. Is cutting grass taking up too much of your valuable sports time? Arthur's Electric Service has the Toro Time Cutter mower that can significantly reduce your mowing time. Toro's simplified operation, zero-turn features, and comfortable ride will have you cutting smarter, not harder. Get the mower that's ready to cut when it goes out the door at Arthur's, located at 8910 Brook Road in Glen Allen. Stop by today to see the full line of Toro Time Cutters, or call 264-2513 to learn how you can save time and effort. And now, back to the game.
Hey guys, this is Big Alan. I want to talk to you about something serious, prostate cancer. 1 in 7 of us will develop it. I know firsthand because I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Fortunately, I was diagnosed early, and when caught early, it's treatable. I went to Virginia Urology, where my doctor discussed my options, listened to my concerns, and took care of me in a thorough and professional manner. So if you're over 40, have a family history, or are African American, you need to talk to your doctor about an annual prostate cancer screening. Call Virginia Urology, 288-0339, or go to virginiaurology.com.
Hurry in to Outback for our limited time only steak and unlimited shrimp starting at just $15.99. Hurry in for our sirloin and unlimited garlic herb shrimp or unlimited crispy shrimp with new volcano sauce. And let the bold flavors speak for themselves. Outback Steakhouse, done right. There are 5 great Outback restaurants in the Richmond area. Visit Outback.com for the location nearest you. Prices, products, and participation may vary while supplies last.
Hi, Bob Black here. As the voice of your Richmond Spiders, I see the fans' passion for our hometown team come to life each Saturday in the fall. UPS shares this same passion for helping businesses turn a challenge into a solution. Because they're not just in the shipping business, they're in the problem-solving business. Visit ups.com/solvers to see how UPS can help your team find the winning formula. UPS, official logistics company of Richmond Athletics.
This is the Spider Sports Line with head football coach Danny Rocco, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Back on the show, and I can tell you Omar Howard is a veteran of this show. He just gobbled down for 85 seconds. He heard the intro music, hopped right up from his seat, came right back up to the table. So you can tell he's been here before, and he will be here again. Omar Howard, Spider linebacker, captain, is our guest. So all of this game day stuff, we've talked about it today. Todd McShay's been on with us. It is great fun and attention for the fans, for the media, the alumni, all of that. But I would venture to say, for you guys, you're never going to see it. You're never going to experience it. It's from 9 to noon on Saturday at an away site. By the time we kick off at 3:30, they will be a distant memory. They've already said they'll break down. They'll be gone from Harrisonburg by 2 o'clock onto their next stop. How much is it in your guys' conscience, at least early in the week, that you are getting some national attention?
I mean, it was exciting when they first announced it. Obviously, seeing the Twitter feeds like JMU versus Richmond game day. I mean, you see like 5,000 retweets, and you're like, wow, that's us. We're about to be on game day. But other than that, like after the hype, it's just goes on to the next game, I guess.
Danny, is it something that you have or will speak to your players about?
Yeah, I did. I guess it would have been Sunday night. I spoke of it and kind of laid out a little bit of a formula, a lot of which Omar is repeating here this evening in our conversation about embracing the process, and the process outweighs the event and things like that. So it's great to hear that they're listening. But, it's great and it's exciting, and I think everyone should be excited about it. I think it's an honor. Like I said before, both to Coach Withers and James Madison football and to the University of Richmond and their program, because we've both earned the right to have this attention. Okay, now you got to put it all away, and you just got to focus on the process. And it's a lot more important, your preparation, than the actual hype about the game. So we're excited. We would have been excited either way. Right. I mean, this is Richmond versus James Madison for first place. But see, that's the neat thing. It's like, so another entity, a much larger entity, is recognizing how significant this is. So we have the two teams in the CAA, the most respected league in all of FCS football with the most history of success. The two teams that are unbeaten in league play are playing, and we're going to choose that game. It happens to be in Harrisonburg.
Hey, one more on that subject, and then let's get into the X's and O's of the challenges of Vadley and JMU. You're a local guy. There are several local guys. Richmond does a great job of recruiting this local area. Is it even more of an excitement level for you guys, for you, for Madison Day, a fellow Midlothian guy, for Brian Brown, who's a local guy, for the local guys who probably know more about this rivalry than some of the others?
Yeah, it definitely is, just because we have a lot of friends that go to JMU. I can probably name 100 people that go to JMU, and like I want to show up because I know those people. Obviously, the rivalry itself makes you want to show up, but that's just an added factor, I guess.
What's the biggest challenge? And Chris can speak to this and ask you some questions as a defensive guy as well, going up against an offense that's, put staggering numbers on the stat sheet to this point, 40-plus points, 600 yards a game. Vadley at quarterback. What's the biggest challenge you're zeroing in on?
Getting off the field. If we get off the field, then they don't have all those long drives, and we get the offense the ball back, and we know our offense can score a lot of points. So, I mean, as long as we can get off the field and get off in a timely manner, then we'll be all right.
We've been winning in the red zone, so I know that's not obviously always ideal. You want to get in there and get off the field now, but we've been winning in the red zone. So what do you guys, what's the secret to that? I just noticed when they get closer and closer to that end zone, we get tougher and tougher. So what do you?
I think that's just the fact that Coach Trott preaches, win in the red zone, win when it matters the most at the end, in the finish. And we have a philosophy, plaster our guys. A lot of times in the red zone, it's a matter of if you lose your guy, then that's a touchdown. We obviously listen to that very well and match well with the receivers.
Not only good in the red zone, but good in turnover margin this year. I think +9 now, which leads the CAA. I know it was a point of emphasis, certainly in August. From the offensive perspective, you understand it. Hold on to the ball. It's yours now. Don't let it go. Defensively, how have you guys gone about getting turnovers? Sometimes it's tough to practice, tough to execute on the game field.
I mean, we just have a lot of playmakers. I know Ayo has 3 turnovers, I think, by himself. I mean, and those 3 interceptions were just like him making a great play. David Jones also has 3 interceptions, so those 2 guys alone are just making big plays. And also it comes from flying to the ball, like using our speed to get the ball and knowing that the ball should be ours. I mean, like, that's just the mindset, I guess.
What will this week be like? Is it one of those weeks that, hey, I can't wait till Saturday gets there, or you stay in, as Coach likes to say, in that moment? Today's practice is the most important event you've got on your calendar?
Well, yes. Today's practice is definitely the most important because that's all I can think of. But obviously every Saturday you're excited to play because, I mean, you don't get so many Saturdays. You only get so many opportunities to play football. So, every Saturday you're excited. But, I mean, this being JMU, obviously it's just that much more.
All right, great perspective. Go finish lunch. Have a great practice today, and we'll see you Saturday in Harrisonburg.
Thank you very much.
Spider linebacker Omar Howard coming off of the 18-tackle game Saturday in the win over Rhode Island. Chris, Danny, and I back with one more segment. Don't go away. When we come back, Spider Sports Line at Outback, 7917 West Broad Street on the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
TNT Auto Rental and Limousine Service has you covered for all your car, van, and limo needs. They'll pick you up and take you to the airport or take care of you and your friends going to the big game with 7, 12, and 15-seat passenger vans. A TNT limo is perfect for that special occasion like wine tours, weddings, proms, and holiday parties. Call TNT Auto Rental and Limousine Service at 804-270-2912. That's 270-2912.
We know what it's like, that persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
Have you been dreaming about a new deck, screen, porch, or room addition? Make it happen by calling Adadec at 285-4239. Adadec doesn't just build decks. Of course, we can build your new deck or renovate your old one. We also build beautiful screen porches, open porches, sunrooms, and other room additions, and have been for over 25 years. We can design it, build it, and turn your dream into reality. Visit Adadec on the web at adadec.com or call 285-4239 today. That's 285-4239 for additions and decks by Adadec.
This is the Spider Sports Line with head football coach Danny Rocco, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network. Powered by Ace Electric.
Got 3 or 4 minutes to go in the program today. It's been really good with Todd McShay from ESPN, Omar Howard from the Spider linebacking core, and Chris Anderson. We'll give Chris a moment here to chat again with Coach Rocco. Last kind of thought, Danny, for the week maybe on this ESPN game day thing, but you actually have another more personal connection, not a U of R connection, but when you were at Liberty, the sideline reporter for the Flames television network was a young lady by the name of Samantha Steele, who is now known as Samantha Ponder, and she is part of the ESPN College Game Day crew. She will be in Harrisonburg Friday and Saturday, and you do have a connection with her, correct?
Yeah, I have. Was close to Samantha for a number of years there, and we were at Liberty together, and I kind of watched her, grow professionally, and I had a lot of respect for what she was doing there at Liberty. She did a lot of the correspondence, a lot of the special features. She was did the halftime interview as I came off the field. I would talk to Samantha before I went into the locker room, and so I got to know her really well, and really happy and proud of her in terms of what she's been able to do with her career. And then, Coach Corso, this is an interesting story. When I was coming out of high school, he was the head coach at Indiana in the Big Ten. And he had come in to recruit me a couple of times. And my dad was my high school coach, and he was a teacher there at Fox Chapel High School. And I remember vividly one day Coach Corso coming in and talking to me. And when Coach Corso left, I made a decision that I was going to commit to Indiana. I didn't tell Lee Corso that, but I went in to see my dad right after they had left. I said, "Hey, Dad, I think I'm going to go to Indiana. I'm going to commit to Coach Corso." Well, sure enough, he said, "Well, Danny, we'll get him on the phone this weekend." Well, sure enough, that weekend, Joe Paterno called me. And I don't know if my dad called Joe to get Joe to call me before I committed to Corso or how it all played out, but I ended up going to Penn State out of high school. But, Coach Corso is a guy that this generation doesn't necessarily recognize his accomplishments as a coach. He was a tremendous football coach and a tremendous mentor to a lot of people, and I really respect Lee Corso.
Final thoughts, Chris Anderson, while we have you on the head table today.
Well, question for Coach Rocco. I want to talk to Coach Rocco, sports psychologist. We're about to hit the field on Saturday. Last word for the team.
Well, let it all hang out. I mean, we're going to lay everything on the line, and, don't be afraid to go out there and do everything you can to find a way to win. And I think ultimately you got to dare to be great, and there's those moments exist all the time in this great game of football. And we got to have that mindset going into the game and that belief that we're going to find a way to win.
Jasmine Coleman and I have about 10 plays left of eligibility. You think you can work us in?
No, I don't think so.
I would think if that was,
hey, if this was like a golf outing or something, I could get you guys out there. But no,
if he had said Sean Barber and Mark Megna have about 10 plays left,
Maybe.
Hey, you're back into your normal routine now this week. Last week we talked about fall break and all of that. So this week it's cut and dried, X's and O's. Probably will help everybody to be in the normal routine.
Yeah, business as usual. Standard method of operation is my kind of normal theme or my cop-out. But, today we're meeting at 3, on the field 4:30. Standard Tuesday practice as we introduce the first and second down game planning for this week's game up in Harrisonburg.
Last week was the only game on grass all year, too. We were just thinking about that. Back to the turf as well this week. No great effect, obviously, last week, right?
No, it was good, though. We got away from the stadium, and we went out to practice on the grass fields. And I don't really know if my players really enjoyed that, but I did. I mean, I enjoyed it immensely because it was just a different setting, a slightly different environment, a slightly different change in the routine. I knew in the big picture, globally thinking, I knew I had to get them on the grass. I was not going to go up there and have my guys slipping and complaining about the field and the surface. So if they were going to complain about a field and the surface, they were going to complain about the one we practiced on Tuesday and Wednesday. And it was in great shape. So I thought that played out really well for us. But we'll be back in the stadium here this week, as we'll be on field turf up at James Madison.
Looking forward to it, Coach. And Chris, thank you very much for being here. Come back and see us anytime.
Glad to be here.
Hey, if you're not making it to Harrisonburg Saturday, we're on the air at 3 o'clock with our pregame show on ESPN 950 on our FM affiliate, Hank FM 93.1. We're also on Sirius and XM satellite radio, so if you're out of town, they're picking up our Spider broadcast as well. And the game on television is Comcast Sportsnet Plus. If you get Comcast Sportsnet, you get Comcast Sportsnet Plus. There's a channel finder on our website at richmondspiders.com if you want to know the exact channel that you can watch the game. We certainly hope you'll be there wearing your red, get to College game day, and get to the game Saturday against JMU. Chris, again, thanks. See you Saturday.
See you.
Thanks to Matt Josephs. He's produced our show from our ESPN 950 studios. Mitchell Bradley on location. Coach Omar Howard, Todd McShay, our guest today. We thank them as well. Talk to you 3 o'clock Saturday from Harrisonburg for Spider football. Until then, so long from Outback for the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950 and the Spider IMG Sports Network.